Hey guys, Josh here, and the public test build for Dead by Daylight has just been updated, and with that brings a new killer, survivor and map for the first cut chapter of the game. Before we even get into it, my theory video was incorrect, which is slightly disappointing I guess, but the killer from what I've seen is still very good. In this video I'll be going over the new characters with their lore, powers, perks and everything like that, so without further ado, let's get straight into it with this new killer. The new killer is called the Spirit. She's a phase-walking killer able to catch survivors off guard with her traversal power. Her power allows her to teleport from one place to another without being seen. Rin was the only child of the Yamaoka family. She was raised in the dusty halls of a traditional house in Kagawa. She studied education at Takamatsu, a private university which weighed heavily on her family's shaky finances. Her mother got ill that year and the bills started piling up. Rin worked part-time in a futile attempt to help lighten the load. Her father faced a debt that grew without end. He started working double shifts in hopes of obtaining a promotion. That's when he started to lose sleep. A dark whisper would keep him awake all night, reminding him of his hopeless situation. Exhausted, he started to lose grasp of reality. Fighting to deny what the voice whispered at night, Rin's father made a desperate move. He met with his superior and explained the situation. He begged for a bonus, an advance, time off, anything. His request was denied. The company had launched a defective production line that was costing them dearly. Someone had to be held accountable, and Rin's father fitted the bill perfectly. He was fired after 22 years of the service. That evening, Rin came home from work. She stayed late to entertain customers that lingered at the restaurant. As she parked her bike in the shed, she heard her mother scream from the house. She rushed in, climbing up the stairs to her parents' room, where she found bits and pieces of her mother on the floor. Her limbs were clean cut, tangled up in an unnatural position. Her chest sliced up, revealing her ribcage, which was cracked open. A sharp katana came crashing down. Rin blocked the blade, which bit into her bare forearm. The shock of recognition interrupted her pain. Her father was wielding the katana with a stoic expression. She cried out to make him stop, but he slashed her arm again. She rushed off and slid on the blood-smeared floor. Using the door frame as support, she raised herself up. The katana ripped through the wall, cleaving her other arm. She screamed in pain as she limped into the hallway, only to be met by her father's blade. She stepped back, trembling as she held together the loose flesh of her abdomen. Images of her mother's tangled limbs flashed before her eyes. Rin charged at her father, making him stumble back. He punched her torn abdomen and she reclined in pain. As she struggled to get back up, he slashed her thigh, making her collapse on the floor. As she crawled towards the stairs, he grabbed her hair and yanked her against the partition. The glass shattered on impact and she fell through, landing one floor down. She heard footsteps somewhere above her. With effort she moved, worming her way into a sea of broken glass. The shards gnawed at her, ripping her flesh. He had to be stopped. He would not get away with what he'd done to her, with what he'd done to her mother. Coughing up blood, her chin grazed the glass, adding to the bleeding. A low-pitched heartbeat started to ring in her ears. Her body felt so heavy she could no longer move. The ground shook with her father's footsteps. She knew that she was not going to make it, but she no longer cared. She would make him pay, in this life or the next. A dark fog slowly veiled her eyes, but it would not subdue her rage. She would not rest, not yet. The darkness whispered, promising blood and revenge. An oath was made, and Rin closed her eyes. Her power is called Yamaoka's Haunting. The spirit can use her power to enter an ethereal plane and reappear at a new location. By tapping and holding the power buttons charged, the spirit will depart her physical body, leaving behind a stationary husk. While this power is active, the spirit may traverse freely to a new location, moving at a faster rate for a short duration. She's still confined to the movement within the physical environments and surroundings. The spirit leaves the physical plane, losing sight of all survivors. She can, however, still sense and see the scratch marks that they leave in the environment. The spirit will produce an audible cue at her current location once the power has ended. The spirit retains her speed boost for a brief period and her husk fades away. Like every other killer, she has 3 unique perks. The first of these is called Spirit Fury. After breaking 4 pallets, the next pallet that stuns you will be instantly broken. You'll be stunned for the same amount of time, but you'll be able to carry on immediately after, chasing them. Next up is a hex perk called Haunted Ground. When using this perk, 2 trapped totems will spawn in the trial. If one of them gets cleansed, every survivor will suffer from the exposed effect for 40 seconds. This means that the survivor can be downed in one hit. Finally, the last perk is called Rancor. You become obsessed with one survivor. Each time a generator is completed, the obsession sees your aura for 3 seconds and all survivors' auras are revealed to you for 3 seconds. Once all generators are completed, the obsession has the exposed status effect and the killer can kill the obsession instantly. Now onto the survivor. The new survivor is called Adam Francis. Adam Francis is a resourceful teacher able to adapt to new circumstances and develop strategies accordingly. He was born in Rollington Town in Kingston, Jamaica. His father died in a car accident when he was 2 and his uncle took him in. His uncle was a strict but fair man who raised him to value education. At Kingston College, Adam discovered his father's published works, which triggered his passion for literature. His campus, however, was known for its focus on athletics. As a shy teenager with his nose stuck in the books, he was the perfect prey for bullies. What he lacked in sports, he made up in grit. He learned to defend himself in the thick of it. It's during his years in college that he started to imagine his life somewhere else. While his close friends orbited the music industry, he followed a surer path. His grades granted him admission to higher education, and there was a demand for teachers abroad. After graduating university, he taught extra classes to afford applying fees overseas. He had a steady diet of long commutes, grading piles, nightly lesson plans, and early classes. After a year, he managed to apply for a position abroad. His first plane ride took him to southern Japan for a new start. His life in Kagoshima was hectic. There was little time to do everything that he took for granted back home. His Japanese was elementary at best, which slowed him down. Buying groceries took hours, long commutes had to be planned, and lesson plans relied on Japanese notions, which he had to learn. But after a few months, he found his rhythm. He reflected on it one morning while riding the train to work. He no longer had to study the kanji characters filling the map, he knew his way. His language skills had improved, he felt connected to his students, and he treated himself to luxurious restaurants on a weekend. He even had his first vacation planned, but within a second, Adam's world was brought down to a slow motion. Rails hissed, bags came pouring down, and the floor trembled before the hit. Adam crashed forward as the train flipped upside down. He landed on a window pane as an unhinged door came flying at a passenger. He rolled over so the door would hit him instead of the girl. He shut his eyes as he braced for impact, but nothing happened. He squinted one eye open and he saw nothing but darkness. A heavy fog had taken over the train. Ice seemed to flow through his body, reaching his lips first, then the tip of his fingers before spreading to his legs. Lulled by the warm hum of the dark whisper, he closed his eyes, drifting. No one truly knows what happened to Adam Francis. The school teachers imagined the worst when they watched the train derailment on the news and saw he was missing. Their fears seemed to be confirmed when Adam's bag was recovered from the crash site, but his body was never found on the train. To this day, his uncle believes that Adam took off after the train crash, alive still somewhere out there. Adam's first perk is called Diversion. Standing within the killer terror radius but not in chase activates his ability for 45 seconds. Once activated, pressing the active ability button while crouched and not moving throws a pebble which creates a loud noise notification for the killer at a distance of 10 meters. The next perk is called Deliverance. After performing a safe hook rescue on another survivor, you will have a 100% chance to unhook yourself during the next escape attempt. A successful deliverance from the hook triggers the broken effect for 100 seconds. This is a new effect coming out with this update, and this means that you cannot be healed past the injured state for this 100 seconds. Finally, the last perk is Autodidact. You start with the trial with its minus 20% progression penalty for a skill checks to heal survivors. For every successful skill check completed while healing, you gain a token up to a maximum of 3. Each token grants a 20% bonus progression for a successful skill check while healing survivors. But that's the end of this video. That's everything that's come out in the first cut update. Obviously there are going to be a lot of patch notes as well, and I may be making a video on that. I'm not sure yet. I'll look through and see whether there are any massive details. But make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in another video very soon.